victim narrative just got absolutely obliterated. Kate Middleton endured 6 years of paparazzi hell without a single bodyguard, while Meghan Markle was a working royal for only 18 months before she claimed it was all too much. Let that sink in for a moment. 6 years versus 18 months. And the comparison gets even more devastating when you dig into what each woman actually faced. Picture Kate Middleton in 2007, trapped in her Chelsea apartment on her 25th birthday. Over 20 photographers and 5 news cameras blocking her door. Camera lenses shoved within a foot of her face. No escape, no protection, no palace support whatsoever. She was completely on her own, left to twist in the wind while the entire world watched and waited for an engagement announcement that wouldn't come for another 3 years. Now contrast that with Meghan Markle, who walked into the royal family with a team of 14 intelligent and experienced officials assembled specifically to teach her everything she needed to know. Queen Elizabeth herself put together this dream team to introduce Meghan sensitively to royal life. Private secretaries, advisors, palace insiders offering guidance at every turn. 6 months of listening and learning, they said. All the support Kate never received. But here's where this story gets absolutely explosive. While Meghan was building her victim narrative, telling Oprah Winfrey that the media was just rude to Kate, the real story of what Kate endured was being buried. The Princess of Wales suffered harassment that rivaled Princess Diana's treatment. Photographers didn't just follow her, they screamed vile insults at her. Sources claim they yelled disgusting names, trying desperately to get a reaction, to capture that one moment of her breaking down. And Kate never broke, not once. She endured being chased late at night by several men in a car, a terrifying episode that would haunt anyone. She had her phone hacked 155 times by tabloids desperate for information. She eventually had to quit her job because the constant presence of paparazzi made working impossible. Her family hired lawyers. Prince William issued angry statements. The government even cited the hounding of Kate Middleton in an official report on press regulation failures. This went on for 6 straight years. No protection officers, no royal security, nothing. Because she wasn't engaged to William yet, she didn't qualify for help. The palace left her vulnerable, exposed, an easy target. Security experts were terrified. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip reportedly pressured William to either propose or let Kate go because the situation had become so dangerous. She was considered a security nightmare, someone terrorists could use to hurt the royal family. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle lasted 18 months as a working royal before announcing she was stepping back. 18 months with every advantage Kate never had. The numbers don't lie, and the contrast is absolutely staggering. This is the story they don't want you to know. The harassment started the moment Kate Middleton graduated from St. Andrews University in 2005. She thought she could quietly build a career, live a normal life in London, maybe see where her relationship with Prince William would go. Instead, she walked straight into a living nightmare that would consume the next 6 years of her life. Royal biographer Tina Brown described what Kate faced as 90s paparazzi excess all over again. The exact same brutal tactics that had tortured Princess Diana were now being unleashed on this young woman who had committed no crime except falling in love with a prince. Kate was relentlessly pursued in London, hounded when she left her Chelsea apartment in ways that were hauntingly reminiscent of the harassment Diana endured before her tragic death. But here's what makes this story even more disturbing. The photographers weren't just taking pictures. They were trying to break her. As Kate walked through Paddington Station or arrived at airports, barbaric photographers would scream the most vile insults imaginable. They called her horrible names, vulgar slurs designed specifically to provoke a reaction. They wanted to capture her crying, her anger, her breaking point. They wanted that money shot of Kate Middleton losing control. She never gave it to them. Friends who witnessed this treatment described Kate's composure as extraordinary. The harassment was constant, relentless, suffocating. It was never water off a duck's back, sources revealed. But Kate possessed this incredible strength of character and resilience that nobody expected. Not once did anyone see or hear of her losing her temper, despite provocations that would have destroyed most people. And the most shocking part, Kate received absolutely no official palace help to fend off the photographers and television crews who waited for her to emerge from work every single day. The royal family, the institution she was expected to join, left her completely exposed. Most royal girlfriends without a ring on their finger were abandoned, left to handle the media circus entirely alone. The palace had a policy, essentially, that if you weren't officially engaged, you weren't their problem. This wasn't just about inconvenience or annoyance. This was about safety, mental health, and basic human dignity. Kate was living in a goldfish bowl with the entire world watching, judging, speculating about every aspect of her life. What she wore, where she went, who she talked to, everything was analyzed and criticized. The scrutiny was absolutely brutal. Royal expert Robert Jobson explained the stark difference in Kate's experience depending on whether William was with her. When the prince was by her side, his armed Scotland Yard protection officers would swiftly deal with any intrusive paparazzi, ensuring minimal fuss. But the moment William left her side, everything changed. She no longer had bodyguards watching over her, yet the media harassment somehow intensified. The photographers knew she was vulnerable, and they exploited that vulnerability ruthlessly, day after day, month after month, year after year. This was just the beginning of Kate's ordeal. One night, Kate Middleton experienced every royal girlfriend's worst nightmare. She was driving late at night when several men in a car began chasing her through London streets. Sources close to Kate described the experience as absolutely terrifying. This wasn't photographers on motorcycles keeping a respectful distance. This was an aggressive pursuit that put her life in danger, echoing the exact circumstances that had killed Princess Diana just years earlier. An unnamed friend revealed the horror of that night to the Times, emphasizing how Kate found the entire ordeal deeply frightening. She was alone, unprotected, being hunted through dark streets by men who saw her as nothing more than a payday. The parallel to Diana's fatal car crash in Paris was impossible to ignore, yet nothing changed. The harassment continued without consequence, but the car chase was just one incident in what became years of daily torture. In 2006 and 2007, Kate was working as an accessories buyer for the fashion label Jigsaw, trying desperately to maintain some semblance of a normal career. Every single day, paparazzi would wait outside her office like vultures circling prey. The moment she stepped out to buy lunch, they would ambush her and follow her down the street. Imagine trying to do your job, trying to prove yourself professionally, while photographers document your every movement. Kate couldn't grab a sandwich without a dozen cameras in her face. She couldn't walk to a meeting without being hounded. Her colleagues at Jigsaw watched helplessly as their talented employee was turned into tabloid fodder against her will. Eventually, Kate had no choice. She had to leave her position at Jigsaw, a job she genuinely enjoyed, because the constant presence of paparazzi had made the situation completely untenable. Her career was sacrificed at the altar of public fascination with Prince William's love life, and still, the palace offered her nothing. No security, no support, no intervention whatsoever. Back at her Chelsea apartment, the nightmare continued. Paparazzi camped outside the building she shared with her sister Pippa, waiting for Kate to emerge. They would stake out the entrance for hours, sometimes days, hoping to catch a glimpse of the future princess. The intrusion was so severe that Kate and her family grew genuinely unnerved. The situation forced Prince William to show his mettle, though it shouldn't have required his intervention in the first place. After talking it over with Kate and her parents, William finally stepped in. Kate's parents instructed lawyers to contact national newspaper editors, desperately urging them to give their daughter and family some privacy. They were begging for basic human decency that should have been granted automatically. But here's the brutal reality that nobody wants to acknowledge. Kate endured this treatment because she wasn't officially part of the royal family yet. She was just the girlfriend, and royal protocol dictated she deserved no protection, no help, nothing. She was completely expendable in the eyes of the institution, and this torture continued for years. January 9th, 2007 should have been a day of celebration for Kate Middleton. Instead, it became one of the most devastating and humiliating days of her life. Her 25th birthday turned into a media circus that would ultimately be cited in a government report as a complete failure of press regulation in the United Kingdom. Rumors had been swirling for months that Prince William was finally going to propose. Tabloids were convinced an engagement announcement was imminent, and they were determined to be there when it happened. So on Kate's birthday, the paparazzi descended on her Chelsea flat like a swarm of locusts. Over 20 photographers and 5 news cameras stationed themselves directly outside her front door. Kate was trapped. She couldn't leave her own home. When she finally attempted to exit the building that morning, the scene was absolutely chaotic. Her car was blocked. Camera lenses were shoved within a foot of her face. Photographers were screaming questions, demanding she give them something, anything they could sell. The aggressive behavior was captured on video, and years later it would resurface in viral compilations showing just how brutal the harassment truly was. This wasn't journalism. This was a coordinated attack on a private citizen whose only crime was dating someone famous. Kate had no security detail, no bodyguards, no palace officials running interference. She was completely on her own, forced to navigate through a hostile crowd that saw her as nothing more than content to monetize. Prince William was absolutely furious. His spokesperson issued a blistering statement that laid bare just how unbearable the situation had become. The statement declared that Prince William was very unhappy at the paparazzi harassment of his girlfriend and wanted more than anything for it to stop. It emphasized that Kate should, like any other private individual, be able to go about her everyday business without this kind of intrusion. The most damning line? The situation is proving unbearable for all those concerned. That word unbearable wasn't chosen lightly. This was the future King of England publicly stating that the woman he loved was being tortured by the media and something had to change immediately. But the damage was done. Kate's birthday had been ruined, her privacy shattered, her sense of safety destroyed, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Just 1 month after this incident, Clive Goodman, the News of the World's former royal editor, was sentenced for hacking phones to inform his reporting. The phone hacking scandal was exploding, revealing just how invasive and illegal the tabloid tactics had become. In July 2007, members of Parliament specifically criticized the Press Complaints Commission for failing to protect Kate from persistent harassment. Her treatment was cited in an official government report on press regulation as evidence that the system was fundamentally broken. Kate Middleton's name was literally used as an example of regulatory failure. The engagement everyone expected? It didn't happen. In fact, just months after her birthday nightmare, Kate and William briefly broke up. Behind the scenes, a much darker conversation was happening within the walls of Buckingham Palace. Kate Middleton wasn't just dealing with invasive paparazzi and media harassment. She had become what security professionals were calling a genuine security nightmare, and the implications were absolutely terrifying. Here's what nobody talks about. While the media was obsessively following Kate's every move, so were potential threats, terrorists, extremists. Anyone who wanted to hurt the royal family now had an easy, unprotected target walking around London without a single bodyguard. Kate was completely vulnerable, and security experts were genuinely alarmed. Inside sources revealed that Prince William was forced to protect Kate during their dating years specifically because she was constantly a target, not just for photographers, but for people with far more sinister intentions who wanted to use her as a way to hurt the royal family. The threat was real, immediate, and growing more dangerous every single day she remained unprotected. If the media knew where Kate would be at any given moment, tracking her movements and publishing her location in real time, then everyone else knew too. The security implications were staggering. Kate could have been kidnapped, she could have been assaulted, she could have been used as leverage against Prince William and the entire monarchy, and she had absolutely no protection to prevent any of these scenarios. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip reportedly recognized just how untenable the situation had become. According to royal sources, both the Queen and Prince Philip urged William to make a decision. He needed to either get engaged to Kate or let her go her own way. This wasn't about rushing the relationship or pressuring William into marriage. This was about acknowledging that keeping Kate in this limbo state was genuinely dangerous. A source revealed the private conversations, saying that Prince Philip told William he could not keep stringing Kate along forever. The subtext was clear. Every day Kate remained William's girlfriend without official royal status meant another day she was exposed, vulnerable, and at risk. Letting her go would have broken her heart, but at least she would no longer have to worry about being harassed by the media or targeted by people with evil intentions. The situation was described as a Wild West time period when anything went. This was the late 2000s, an era before stricter regulations on paparazzi behavior, before social media accountability, before anyone truly understood the mental health toll of constant surveillance. Kate was living through what some called 90s paparazzi excess all over again, the exact aggressive tactics that had contributed to Princess Diana's death. And yet, despite all of this, despite the security nightmares and the genuine danger she faced daily, Kate persevered. She didn't demand protection, she didn't hire her own security team, she didn't run to the media with complaints about how difficult her life had become. She simply endured, day after day, year after year, proving she had the mental fortitude and resilience required to eventually become the Princess of Wales. But her ordeal was far from over. Now let's talk about Meghan Markle's experience as a working royal, because the contrast is absolutely jaw-dropping. Meghan married Prince Harry on May 19, 2018 in a fairy tale wedding watched by millions around the world. She officially became the Duchess of Sussex, a working member of the British royal family with all the privileges and protections that came with that title. By January 8, 2020, just 1 year and 9 months later, Meghan and Harry announced they were stepping back as senior royals. They posted on Instagram that after many months of reflection and internal discussions, they had chosen to make a transition. By March 30, 2020, they had completed their final official royal duty and moved to Los Angeles to start their financially independent life. Let's do the math. Meghan was a working royal for approximately 18 months total. 18 months. That's less time than most people spend in an entry-level job before asking for a promotion. And during those 18 months, Meghan had advantages that Kate Middleton could only have dreamed about. Queen Elizabeth herself assembled a team of 14 intelligent and experienced officials specifically to help Meghan navigate royal life. This wasn't some bare-bones support system. This was a dream team of the most qualified people in the entire royal household, all focused on one mission, introducing Meghan sensitively to the quirks and expectations of royal life and service to the nation. The team was led by Samantha Cohen, the Queen's outgoing assistant private secretary, who officially joined Harry and Meghan's staff in June 2018. Cohen held the position of private secretary for 18 months, working tirelessly to guide Meghan through every aspect of her new role. Alongside Cohen was Jason Knauf and a roster of young, intelligent, experienced officials whose entire job was making sure Meghan succeeded. There would be 6 months of listening and learning, the palace announced. 6 months where Meghan could absorb everything she needed to know without pressure, without judgment, with complete institutional support. She had her own private secretary, Amy Pickerel, who Prince Harry reportedly handpicked from his private office specifically to be Meghan's first private secretary. But the support didn't stop there. Lady Susan Hussey, the monarch's long-serving lady-in-waiting and a godmother of Prince William, personally visited Meghan at Nottingham Cottage to offer help and advice. Other close companions of the Queen reached out as well. Considering the importance of making a mixed-race woman welcome, sources revealed Cohen's team tactfully sought to understand Meghan's concerns, her priorities, and how her ambitions could be realized. Meghan attended her first official public appearance with Prince Harry at a World AIDS Day walkabout in Nottingham on December 1, 2017, even before the wedding. In total, Meghan attended 26 public engagements prior to becoming the Duchess of Sussex. She was being groomed, prepared, supported every step of the way. The resources dedicated to Meghan's success were unprecedented. Everything Kate never received was handed to Meghan on a silver platter. Let's lay out the comparison in brutal, undeniable terms. Because when you see these two experiences side by side, the victim narrative completely falls apart. Kate Middleton endured 6 years of unprotected harassment from 2005 to 2011. Meghan Markle was an unprotected royal girlfriend for approximately 2 years, from the announcement of her relationship with Harry in 2016 through their wedding in 2018. 6 years versus 2 years, but the differences go far beyond just the timeline. Kate had her phone hacked 155 times by the News of the World, according to the tabloid's former royal editor Clive Goodman. 155 separate invasions of her privacy, her private conversations illegally intercepted and used for tabloid stories. This was part of a wider phone hacking scandal targeting the royal family, and Kate was one of the primary victims. Kate's family had to hire their own lawyers to contact national newspaper editors, begging them to give their daughter basic privacy. They spent their own money, their own resources, fighting a battle the palace should have fought for her. Kate received death threats. She was followed to work. She had to quit her job. She was chased late at night in terrifying episodes that could have ended in tragedy. And through all of this, Kate received zero official palace help. None. The institution that would eventually welcome her as the Princess of Wales offered her absolutely nothing during the years she needed support most. She was left completely on her own to handle harassment that royal experts compared directly to what Princess Diana suffered. Now compare that to Meghan's experience. Queen Elizabeth personally assembled a team of 14 officials for her. The monarch herself took an active interest in ensuring Meghan had every resource necessary to succeed. Samantha Cohen, one of the most experienced and respected members of the royal household, dedicated 18 months of her career specifically to supporting Meghan. Jason Knauf, Amy Pickerel, Lady Susan Hussey, and numerous other palace insiders were available to Meghan whenever she needed guidance. She had 6 months designated specifically for listening and learning. She had private secretaries. She had advisors. She had people whose literal job description was making sure Meghan felt welcome and supported. When Meghan attended her first solo engagement with Queen Elizabeth in Cheshire in June 2018, she was accompanied by a team of senior staff to ensure everything went smoothly. Eddie Young, Samantha Cohen, Matthew McGee, Amy Pickerel, all there to support her. At one point during the visit, Meghan was unsure about who should get in the car first. She asked the Queen directly, "What is your preference?" The Queen reassured her immediately, telling her to go first. This is the level of personal attention and support Meghan received. Royal biographer Jack Royston from Newsweek summed it up perfectly when he wrote that measuring Kate's experiences of harassment against Meghan's might be ill-advised for both sides. But one fact remains undeniable. Kate endured the searing heat of press intrusion without police protection for longer than Meghan's entire royal career. During that infamous March 2021 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Meghan Markle made a statement that would come back to haunt her. When discussing media treatment, Meghan acknowledged that the press were rude to Kate, but then immediately pivoted to suggest her own experiences were worse because they involved racism. The implication was clear. Kate's harassment was just rudeness, but Meghan's treatment was something far more sinister and unbearable. Rude. That's the word Meghan used to describe what Kate endured. Not brutal, not dangerous, not devastating, just rude. As if Kate had simply dealt with some impolite reporters asking uncomfortable questions at press events. This dramatic minimization of Kate's trauma reveals everything you need to know about Meghan's understanding, or lack thereof, of what her sister-in-law actually survived. Kate's treatment went significantly beyond rudeness. Being chased late at night by men in cars isn't rude, it's terrifying. Having photographers scream vile insults at you, calling you disgusting names in public spaces, isn't rude, it's abusive. Being trapped in your own home on your birthday by 20 photographers and 5 news cameras isn't rude, it's a violation. Having your phone hacked 155 times isn't rude, it's criminal. But Meghan's dismissal of Kate's experience wasn't the only hypocrisy on full display. Prince Harry has spent years demanding automatic armed taxpayer-funded police protection whenever he visits the United Kingdom. He's filed lawsuits, written personal letters to government officials, and repeatedly claimed that without full security, his family cannot safely return to Britain. The argument has always been about protecting Meghan and their children from the dangers Harry insists are lurking everywhere. Yet in early 2025, Meghan flew to Paris alone for Fashion Week. No Harry, no visible royal protection detail. She invited herself to the Balenciaga show by texting the designer, asking if she could attend. She was photographed driving around Paris at night, the very city where Princess Diana died while being pursued by paparazzi. The optics were absolutely staggering. If Meghan is truly in such grave danger that Harry must demand UK security with such urgency, why is she comfortable gallivanting around Paris without him? If the threat is so severe that their children cannot visit Britain to see their grandfather, why is Meghan posing for cameras in the city that represents Harry's worst nightmare? The inconsistency is glaring, and it completely undermines every security argument the Sussexes have made. Reports from the Sunday Times revealed that Harry's renewed security demands have deeply complicated his relationship with King Charles. Palace insiders described the situation as deeply unhelpful, stating they're right back where they started. One source noted that Harry was nearly 45 minutes late to every engagement during his UK visit because he didn't have a police detail helping him navigate London traffic. 45 minutes late because he sat in traffic like every other human being in London. Meanwhile, Kate Middleton endured 6 years of genuine danger, and Meghan trivializes it as the media being rude. Here's what separates Kate Middleton from almost everyone else who has ever faced media scrutiny at this level. She never spoke publicly about her ordeal. Not once. Kate never sat down with a sympathetic interviewer to detail the trauma she endured. She never wrote a tell-all book describing the nights she cried herself to sleep. She never went on television to explain how the harassment affected her mental health or made her feel suicidal. Kate simply endured. She kept her head down, maintained her dignity, and proved through her actions rather than her words that she possessed the extraordinary strength of character required to eventually become the Princess of Wales. Friends and sources close to her described her resilience as almost superhuman. The harassment was constant and it was never easy, but Kate coped with it admirably, given how intrusive and relentless it truly was. Royal experts noted that Kate has never once been seen or heard losing her temper, despite provocations that would have broken most people. She absorbed years of abuse, violation of her privacy, and genuine danger without complaining publicly or demanding special treatment. When she finally married Prince William in 2011 and gained the security and palace support she desperately needed, Kate didn't use that platform to air grievances about the institution that had abandoned her. Instead, Kate got to work. She focused on her royal duties, developed her patronages, started a family, and built a reputation as one of the hardest working and most dedicated members of the royal family. She never played the victim. She never blamed the palace for leaving her unprotected during those brutal 6 years. She simply moved forward with grace and dignity that has earned her respect around the world. Now contrast that with Meghan Markle's approach. After 18 months as a working royal with every advantage imaginable, Meghan and Harry gave an explosive interview to Oprah Winfrey that aired globally. They signed a reported $100 million deal with Netflix to produce content that included a documentary series where they detailed their grievances against the royal family. Harry wrote a memoir called Spare that became one of the fastest-selling non-fiction books in history, filled with complaints about his treatment and his family. Meghan has given multiple interviews discussing how difficult royal life was for her. She told Oprah she didn't fully understand what the job was, claiming there was no way to understand what the day-to-day would be like. She described feeling suicidal and claimed the institution refused to help her get mental health support. She spoke about feeling silenced, trapped, and unsupported. The difference is staggering. Kate endured 6 years of hell and never said a word publicly. Meghan had 18 months with a support team of 14 people and has spent the past 5 years telling anyone who will listen how terrible her experience was. Kate proved she could handle the pressure. Meghan proved she couldn't, despite having every advantage Kate was denied. The mental fortitude required for royal life isn't just about surviving difficulty, it's about surviving difficulty with grace. The numbers tell a story that no amount of spin can change. Kate Middleton's paparazzi ordeal lasted longer than Meghan Markle's entire royal career. 6 years of unprotected harassment versus 18 months as a supported working royal. The comparison isn't just damaging to Meghan's victim narrative, it absolutely destroys it. Kate proved beyond any shadow of doubt that she possessed the mental fortitude, the resilience, and the strength of character required to be a member of the British royal family. She endured treatment that was compared directly to Princess Diana's harassment. She survived phone hacking, death threats, terrifying car chases, and daily abuse from photographers who screamed vile insults at her in public. She had to quit her job. She couldn't leave her own home on her birthday. She was considered a security nightmare with no protection whatsoever. And through all of that, Kate never complained publicly. She never demanded special treatment. She never gave interviews explaining how difficult her life had become. She simply showed up day after day, year after year, proving that she could handle whatever the media and the public threw at her. When she finally gained the title of Duchess of Cambridge, and later Princess of Wales, nobody could question whether she had earned it through her suffering and her silence. Meghan Markle walked into a completely different situation. She had Queen Elizabeth's personal support. She had a team of 14 officials dedicated to her success. She had 6 months of listening and learning. She had private secretaries, palace advisors, and experienced insiders available whenever she needed guidance. She had every single advantage that Kate was denied, every resource necessary to thrive in royal life, and it still wasn't enough. 18 months later, Meghan and Harry announced they were stepping back. They moved to California. They signed massive deals with Netflix and Spotify. They've spent years now doing interviews, producing documentaries, and writing books about how difficult and unsupportable their royal experience was. The institution failed them, they claim. Nobody helped them, they insist. The treatment was unbearable, they repeat endlessly. But Kate's story exposes the truth. The institution didn't fail Meghan. Meghan failed to demonstrate the resilience that Kate showed in abundance. The palace didn't refuse to support Meghan. Meghan had more support in 18 months than Kate received in 6 years. The media treatment wasn't uniquely cruel to Meghan. Kate endured far worse for far longer and never once played the victim card. This isn't about diminishing anyone's pain or dismissing genuine struggles. This is about recognizing that being a working royal requires extraordinary strength, and Kate Middleton proved she had it, while Meghan Markle proved she didn't. The contrast is undeniable, the facts are indisputable, and the victim narrative has been completely obliterated. So here's the question nobody wants to ask. If Kate could survive 6 years of hell with grace and dignity, why couldn't Meghan handle 18 months with a support system? Drop your thoughts below. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned because the next video is waiting, and you won't believe what's coming next.